Chapter 5, Echoes of the Future. In this chapter, the sixth witness said that he had seen the prisoner acting suspiciously in a hotel. Sidney Carton, who was always looking at the ceiling, wrote a note and gave it to the lawyer, who asked the witness a question that made everyone surprised. The lawyer asked the witness to look at Carton and Darnay and then decide which one of them was in the hotel. Everyone was surprised because they looked exactly like each other as if they were twins. At that point, Mr. Stryver, the lawyer, proved that the evidence against Charles was useless and Charles Darnay was set free. After leaving the court, Carton invited Charles to dinner. Carton was a kind of man who didn't care about anything or anybody. He believed that nobody cared about him too. He worked for Mr. Stryver and made the preparations secretly for him, as Mr. Stryver was good in court, but he was not very good at preparing things. Dr. Manette and his daughter Lucy lived near Soho Square, where they usually heard echoes of footsteps as people passed. These echoes were a symbol of the footsteps of the people sharing in the French Revolution. These echoes usually made Lucy afraid. She thought they belonged to bad things that were still to come. Miss Pross complained to Mr. Lorry that too many men came to visit Lucy, but none of them were good enough for her. She wished Lucy could marry her brother Solomon, but he was a gambler. Dr. Manette began to recover, but sometimes he got up in the middle of the night and walked up and down in his room. Lucy would walk with him until he calmed down. Now, watch part of the movie.
One day, be as famous as King George III. But mark you, he also talked of France. He told me conditions there were very harsh, and how deeply he felt for the people he'd left behind.
Your Worship, if I may point out something of importance, any conversation Miss Manette had with Mr. Darnay en route from France is beside the point. Darnay is accused of spying on troop barracks in England. The witnesses to that claim only to have seen him from a distance. I ask that my associate, Mr. Carton, step to the front of the court. Mr. Carton, please stand beside Mr. Darnay. Do you not see a strong resemblance? I do not deny that a man may have been seen spying on our forces. But what I ask is, could you convict my client of such a serious offense when it could so easily have been a matter of mistaken identity?
Gentlemen of the jury, we've heard the testimony of over 20 witnesses. The Attorney General has put forward a persuasive argument, which unfortunately relies too much, in my opinion, on circumstance and supposition. I would caution you to ponder this case carefully. An ill-considered verdict could send an innocent man to a terrible death. On the other hand, if you're convinced the charges are fully proven, then you must find the prisoner guilty. You will retire now to consider the evidence. The prisoner will stand. Gentlemen of the jury, have you reached a verdict?
We have, Your Worship.
How do you find the accused, Charles Darnay? Guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty, Your Worship.
Silence! Silence in this court. Charles Darnay, you are free to go. This court is now
And now, read the questions and the answers